Hi, welcome to my presentation on my Action Research project. I am Jessica Lowry, and I am in the STEM integration program at Millersville, and I teach at Allen Middle School for the West Shore School District, and I teach 6th grade math. So the purpose of my project was to learn more about formative assessments and the impact it has on student achievement. So prior to doing this project, I was using formative assessments, however, I wasn't using them properly. So another purpose was to find out how to use them properly and if it really does affect the student achievement. I was using formative assessments, however, I wasn't collecting data on it and really analyzing that student work to see the different levels of my student. And then with the different levels of my student, it helps me to provide more of a differentiated instruction for my students in station rotation. And the main purpose was I was looking for ways to improve my low student test scores from the PSSAs and just in general on the summative assessments that I give after every unit. So the research question that I came up with was, what is the effect on student achievement in mathematics when incorporating formative assessments to drive differentiated instruction? So some background from my literature reviews, things that I found that were really important. Beasley stated that teachers need to be able to see and understand student thinking and understanding, especially in mathematics. I think this was really big for me so that I was able to see where my students were coming from and why they weren't really understanding something. Especially with, as I had stated, I wasn't using the formative assessments properly and I was just going from lesson to lesson instead of just like really looking at what the kids could do before I moved on. And then Shepard said to use measurement analysts to show how assessment designs ensure the intent of targeting their purpose of gaining feedback on student knowledge. So, which you'll see later, I use exit slips daily, and I really tried to design my formative assessments so that it would assess what I was looking for, which was, did they understand the concept that I was teaching? And then we have Fagan, Toby, and Brodesky. Teachers need to include assessment designed to pinpoint key foundational ideas that students understand, as well as any specific misunderstandings they may have regarding a particular mathematics concept. So I found this especially useful for me because with my action research projects, my students were not evaluating algebraic expressions properly, and I couldn't figure out why, and it was because they thought that the variables in algebra, they all had a specific number and it wasn't just any unknown number. So I was able to actually see that after using their formative assessments. And then with Jones, by assessing students on a daily basis, teachers can gain an understanding as to present academic levels and adjust instruction accordingly. So as I said, I used exit slips every day. So at the end of every day, I saved about 5 to 10 minutes. And I gave them one question from the concept that was taught in their differentiated instruction groups and stations. So the design, I kind of had stated some of it earlier. I used daily exit slips consisting of only one question on the concept that they were taught to gain insight on student knowledge for each group. I also used quick quizzes. These were just checkpoints with multiple questions on a concept. So as I stated, I was doing introduction to algebra, and I was using these quick quizzes for the students with multiple questions, so evaluating numerical expressions along with algebraic expressions, using keywords, and translating algebraic expressions. The program that we use is called Envisions, and I use those questions to pull from my exit slips every day. I also had station rotations, which was 25-minute direct instruct station, which was implemented for each student at different levels. And I was really able to either enrich students and send them on to that next concept in the summative assessment or in the unit to prepare them for the summative assessment, or I was able to reteach and gain a better understanding on where they were for that topic. The student groupings, they changed based on the formative assessments. However, as we continued throughout the topic, it was hard to change some student groupings because, as I had said, if I had enriched a group, I couldn't really put them in that other group and send them on their topic. It would have been more of a personalized learning experience where it was like directly based on one student versus a whole group of 6 or 8 students. And then the data that I did collect were the formative assessments and then the pre and post assessments. So my findings. So here I have just a chart showing all the pre-test and post-test scores. It showed what they got out of the total number of points, and then it showed their percentage points. And then I also included a raw growth. So all my students did have growth from the pre-assessment to post-assessment, which I thought was really cool. As you can tell from the table, some students grew a lot more than others, but I was very pleased with the findings for the pre and post assessments. And then here I have the formative assessment findings. With the chart, I used a daily exit slip with a 3-2-1 rating system. So I kind of placed the students into 3 different groups based on what they were doing on the formative assessments. So as you can see, I have 3 2s and 1s all over this chart, and it kind of told me whether the student understood the concept with little to no errors, whether the student was almost there, they were on their way to understanding with some errors, and then if the 1 shows that the student had absolutely no concept of it, or they left it blank. So sometimes especially with my lower level students, they would, attempt the problem, but the majority of it was they just wrote something down and left it blank. So that was where I was able to gain some understandings for that. And then I also have some data from my quizzes. So I quizzed them on the keywords for the concept. I quizzed them on translating algebraic expressions and evaluating numerical and algebraic expressions with their percentages there. And then the conclusion that I have, just using formative daily assessments properly can have a major impact on your daily instruction. And I think it changed my teacher role. It had a very positive impact on it, just because going in every day knowing that I was able to meet all my students at their different levels and meet them at their level, I think it also changed the students' perspective of math. So they could come in and they would know that when we met in stations, that I was able to work more one-on-one with them versus the whole group, which is what I was doing, and not really seeing great results. And then I could also inform my school the power of the action research, just to take the time and how it's worth all the time and effort you actually put into it to see your results at the end. And then I do have a references page, but thank you so much for listening and watching my presentation for my project. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.